Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. Gang, it is time to buckle up because I think that everything that is happening around the globe is coming to our shores. As I told you on, what was it, Friday or Thursday, the seasons are changing. Here's people in Europe. There's civil unrest and people are taking to the streets over the austerity cuts, which will cause people to lose their jobs, but it is necessary, the cuts that must be made. And unions and communists are refusing to back down. Now they're starting to inflame the middle class. Trouble in Europe. Even the UN said last week that the global unemployment crisis will stir social unrest, including here in the United States. And economists are now warning that the world is becoming unstable. Now, mounting chatter by jihadi extremists has Europe bracing for another terrorist attack. Can you imagine what a large terrorist attack would do now to Europe and the world's economy? And the border. Here in the United States, the violence in Mexico is still out of control. First, in the last few days, you've had a tourist shot by drug cartel pirates while jet skiing on a border lake in Texas. And then there was an explosion that injured 15 people, including half a dozen kids as young as 3 years old. What is really frightening is the thing that I think most people is missing. They are missing now that the drug cartels are reportedly targeting civilian population to, quote, cause chaos. Why would you do that? Well, what you're seeing is what we've been talking about in this book for, what, the last year and a half, The Coming Insurrection. We are at the beginning of the seasons changing. So we have to decide as a people, how are we going to tackle these problems? There is a choice. In Europe, it's the labor unions and the communists pushing the protests. Speaking of which, that choice is being presented to us as well at the foot of the Lincoln Memorial this weekend in Washington, D.C. We were presented with a similar choice. All right, I want to show you a couple of things that I think are going to take your breath away in the direction that we're headed. I want to show you first an interview on the BBC of respected advice columnist and TV pundit Virginia Ironside. I want you to hear what she said about handicapped babies. This was yesterday.
I think that if I were a mother of a suffering child, I would be the first to want, a deeply suffering child, I would be the first to want to put a pillow over its face.
Dr. Peter Evans
as I would with any suffering thing. And I think the difference is that my feeling of horror, suffering, is much greater than my feeling of getting rid of a couple of cells, because suffering can go on for years.
I'm sorry, I was just about to introduce another guest there, but that's a pretty horrifying thing to say, that you would put a pillow over there.
Of course I would, if it was a child I really loved who is in agony. I think any good mother would.
That's going to cause some shock amongst people.
I don't know any mother who wouldn't say that if there was nothing else that could be done, and it was
just not true.
Do you think that mothers would agree with you?
I think a lot would. Maybe not any, but a lot.
She'd be the first to put a pillow over the face of her baby if she was suffering and smother a handicapped child. Then she referred to killing a human baby as getting rid of a couple of cells. Who are these people? And you don't have to go overseas to find them. We are growing new ones at an alarming rate. Peter Singer, he is the DeCamp professor of bioethics at Princeton University. He has proposed that parents who are not happy with their newborns, perhaps because they're disabled, but you can do it for any reason, should have the legal right to kill their babies up to 28 days after birth. He even goes on to suggest that there is nothing morally wrong with killing even older babies before the point at which they become self-aware, which is usually around 2. We're teaching this. These are the same people. This is the same beginning of the same trail that led to trouble and awful things in China and Russia and Germany. People that said it was humane to put people out of their misery in their arrogance. Notice that it was Ms. Ironside that wasn't even aware that she said something, as the host put it, what was it, pretty horrifying? Well, in addition to being a columnist and pundit, she's also was the secretary to Dame Shirley Williams, who was working for the far left-wing group, the Fabian Society. What's the Fabian Society? Well, it's a socialist group in Britain. We've shown you and talked about the Fabian Socialists before. People like George Bernard Shaw. Remember, he supported eugenics and in killing members of society who are not deemed productive enough. So you know the Fabian Society is the English version of our Progressive Party in America. It is the same root of a rotted tree. Just like Hillary Clinton said, she's an early 20th century progressive. Same people. Another progressive video that will, quite frankly, shock you, as it should. I saw that video, and it is available, the video I just showed you about the lady at the BBC. That happened yesterday in Great Britain, and I want you to send that to every friend you have. You go on theblaze.com and get that video and send it to everybody. Wake your neighbors up. But there was also on the page, and they still are there, some videos that I'm going to show you next. If I wanted to make a video showing what the progressives really are, show their real maniacal face, and show that when it comes to the earth, they're eco-fascists, I would make a commercial a lot like the one I'm about to show you, but I didn't make it. The eco-fascists did, in their arrogance. And they didn't have a problem with it, at least until people saw it, and then they went, why? Why do people have a problem with this? Again, extremely disturbing and graphic. Here it is, ran in England. Watch.
Right, kids, just before you go, there's a brilliant idea in the air that I'd like to run by you. Now, it's called 10-10. The idea is everyone starts cutting their carbon emissions by 10%, thus keeping the planet safe for everyone, eventually. Now, this hasn't got to be a huge thing, but I would love it if you and your families would think about doing something.
What sort of thing, miss?
Well, like getting your dad to insulate the loft, or taking your next holiday by train instead of flying, or buying energy-saving light bulbs.
We're thinking of using our car less. I'm going to cycle to school.
That's fantastic, Jemima. Now, no pressure at all, but it'd be great to get a sense of how many of you might do this. Just a rough percentage. That's fantastic! And those not? Philip and Tracy. That's fine, that's absolutely fine. Your own choice. Okay, class, thank you so much for today, and I will see you all tomorrow. Oh! Just before you go, I just need to press this little button here. Now everybody, please remember to read chapters 5 and 6 on volcanoes and glaciation. Except for Philip and Tracy, of course.
.10 founder and filmmaker Franny Armstrong explained why she would do an ad like this. She said, because we have about 4 years to stabilize global emissions, and we're not anywhere near doing that. All of our lives are at threat, and if that's not worth jumping up and down about, I don't know what is. Is that a nudge, or is that the beginning of a shove? You're going to have to decide. There's more to this ad, and it's disturbing connections here at home. Again, I want you to share that ad. They tried everything they could to scrub that from the internet. We got our hands on it, and it's at theblaze.com. There's 3 other ads like it. Send it to everyone you know. More disturbing connections from that ad over in Great Britain here. I showed you a disturbing ad from a group called 1010global.org. But we went to this website and we looked for their partners. Who's partnering? We tried to do some investigation here. We found this one. It's 350.org. If you click on 350 and you scroll down, 350.org, can you click on it? Click on it and now scroll down. You'll see their updates, and you will also see, oh, the 10-2-10. They are a partner with the One Nation rally. One Nation rally, of course, was the group of radicals this weekend. Radicals, environmental revolutionaries, and communists that endorsed, I guess, what's left of the Democratic Party and the president. And the president has endorsed the rally. please go to theblaze.com, where you will find these videos, the woman advocating smothering suffering children, and the eco-fascism clip. I want you to send them to everyone you know, and join us back here tomorrow for much, much more.